So you notice that we got the hi ho, it's off to work we go. And then we all kind of went, because if you look online, there's like 35 versions. There's a Satchmo version. So the words that have been playing in my head are, it's off to work we go, with joy about the start of the workday. But my memory apparently hears a song through rose-colored glasses, as it were, because when I looked up a clip from the movie, the song actually celebrates going home from work. The dwarves were singing as they marched home from a meaningless job in the diamond mines, where they cheerfully sing as they dig in the dark, extracting diamonds from the earth without really knowing why. So it's a subtle message about the exploitation of their labor for someone else's profit. Labor Day is such a time of mixed messages. So I could launch a critique of those who profit from another person's labor, but for today, let us celebrate the importance of work in our lives. I believe that Marge Percy is right, that a person yearns for work that is real. It's been a blessing in my life to have work that has been real and rewarding in many ways. From my first jobs, babysitting children in my neighborhood, even the ones who set fire to the Jiffy Pop on the stove when my back was turned, to providing outreach and resources to Mexican-American migrants in the fields of central Michigan, to directing a nonprofit organization to coordinate emergency medical services in rural Missouri, teaching public health in a university, and now ministering to congregations in times of change and transition. One job that stands out in my memory is the summer job on the line in a plastics factory after my first year in college. That job was hot and boring with a side order of sexual harassment and a valuable learning experience about the privilege I too often take for granted in our society. As after a few weeks, I left the factory floor to go back to my studies, while for many of my coworkers, this was their real and permanent life. And no, they were not unionized. Labor Day was created to honor and recognize the American labor movement, the work and contribution of workers to the development and achievements of the United States. It became an official public holiday in the state of Oregon in 1887, and a federal holiday just 7 years later in 1894. A reflection centered on Labor Day could go in any of several directions, of course. The evils of capitalism, the ways social class and caste are reinforced in the labor market, the power of people when they organize into unions and take collective action to represent their interests. But for today, I choose to explore and celebrate the concept of labor as joyful service. What does it mean to work with something in mind beyond our own survival? To celebrate all the ways we work together for common good? How are we called in our work to serve? And how can our efforts contribute toward a better future for all who share life on this planet? Work, at its most basic level, is defined as, quote, the physical or mental effort done in order to achieve a purpose or result, end quote. All creatures, we might say, do the work that is required to address at least their most basic needs, the physiological survival requirements for air and water, food and shelter, sleep, clothing, safety, the resources we need to stay alive. So every creature in some way does work, addressing the tasks of securing access to food and water, bringing snacks for their friends, finding or creating shelter from the elements, safety from predators. That, I think, is the basis of all work. Those activities required for the individual to stay alive and functioning. And at the same time, there is a need just as urgent as the imperative of individual survival to provide the basic resources for species survival, sometimes even at the expense of the individual. There are countless instances of parents who go without meals to feed their children, who risk their own lives to protect their families, stories of individuals who sacrifice their own well-being for that of their tribe or community. Our contribution to species survival is part of our work as well. Work is not just a way for individuals to meet their physiological and safety needs. It is also crucial to the survival of all the larger groups of which the individual is a part, and to society as a whole. Psychologist Abraham Maslow developed the concept of a hierarchy of human needs, a conceptual model that has shaped our understanding of human functioning since the middle of the last century. Maslow's work created a new discipline he called humanistic psychology, a theory of psychological health that rests on a foundation of the basic requirements to stay alive and culminates in our need for self-actualization. To illustrate his humanistic psychology, Maslow proposed a hierarchy of human needs in the shape of a pyramid, claiming that these needs must be met more or less in the order he proposed so that a human individual might thrive. At the base of the pyramid are the basic physiological and security needs that must be fulfilled simply to sustain life. And moving up the hierarchy, the next needs to be met are love and belonging, then respect and esteem, and finally at the top, self-actualization. Our work in the world, our physical or mental effort to achieve a result is important not only to assure our physiological and safety needs are met, but also as one of the primary ways we cultivate love and belonging, create community, build respect and esteem, and achieve self-actualization. Maslow stressed the importance of focusing on the positive qualities in people, and the basic principles behind humanistic psychology include the belief that individuals must take personal responsibility for their actions, that each person is inherently worthy, does that sound familiar? And that the ultimate goal of living is to attain personal growth and understanding. Maslow believed that only through constant self-improvement and self-understanding can an individual ever be truly happy. Fulfilling our needs in the world is not just about individual survival. At all levels, sustaining our human lives is inherently work in relationship. Love and belonging blossom in the company of others. Respect and esteem are cultivated in partnerships, teams, and communities. Our self-actualization emerges in the context of our lives in relationship with others. Maslow argued that, quote, the way in which essential needs are fulfilled is just as important as the needs themselves. Together, these define the human experience. To the extent a person finds cooperative social fulfillment, they establish meaningful relationships with other people and the larger world. Meaningful connections to an external reality are an essential component of self-actualization, end quote. And so on this Labor Day weekend, let us take the time to reflect on the value of human labor, our own human labor, its contributions to society, and the ways that our work sustains the community beyond our individual lives. We create and sustain life in all the forms of work we do, the effort we invest to achieve our varied purposes and results, and in so doing, we contribute to the common good of life on this planet. And that opens a deeper spiritual question. In our quest to meet all our human needs, from the basics of survival to self-actualization, how do we assure that the work we do, the contribution we make to the common good, does the most good it can, creating well-being for all of life through all of time? I invite you to consider with me, how does my work, how does your work contribute to the well-being of the community, the society, the planet, and all its inhabitants? For myself, I ask, how does the work I do as a Unitarian Universalist minister, serving congregations in these challenging times, help us to make a difference for the lives of generations to come? And so I ask, am I working effectively to prepare those around me for a future that may not look much like the past, supporting them to build resilience for change, helping them to learn to be less judgmental of others, more curious about what they see around them? Are my voice, my presence, and the teaching I bring for spiritual deepening, for community engagement, for social justice, making a difference for those who hear me, learn from me? And how does my work of teaching and supporting my clergy colleagues in their practice of ministry serve the world? Am I contributing to the growth of stronger and more resilient communities of faith, especially in our liberal faith tradition? Does this work I do, this ministry of intentional action to which I'm called, contribute in meaningful ways to the well-being of the planet, both those who inhabit it now and all the generations yet to be born? And how can I discern the answers to those questions? How do I measure the impact and effectiveness of my work in the world? I spent some time scrolling through a website called 80,000 Hours, which is the amount of time an average person might expect to spend at work, assuming 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, over a career of about 40 years. That calculation is probably outdated, as many of us are working into our 70s now. I'm into my 50 years of work. 80,000 years of work that we invest in our own self-interest and in the common good. The website provides guidance on career choices that can have a high impact on the collective good of the planet. And as I looked over their guidance, I realized that there are myriad ways our work can make a difference. And my experience tells me that our impact may only become evident long after we've passed from the scene. Their advice on career choices sheds new light on all the ways that work can move us up the hierarchy of human needs to self-actualization and to the benefit of all with whom we share life on the planet. As we reflect on work and its meaning on this Labor Day weekend, I return to the universal reality that we each have our own work to do in the world, and at all levels, from meeting our survival needs through self-actualization. As individuals living in families and communities, we're just one part of the ongoing global stream of life. Within the universal reality of work and all the contexts and settings of our lives, let us live into the possibility that our work can make a difference, especially as we cultivate our commitment and awareness that we are one part of a larger whole. It's a xylophone. There are so many ways in which our efforts to contribute to the well-being of all as we enjoy a harvest of gratitude for every good which we enjoy and of fellowship for all who are sustained by Earth's beauty. So Joyce, could we hear that hi-ho, just a little bit of it, song one more time, just to remind us of the joy of work that is real? So may it be for each and all of us. In celebration of the bright promise within all the work we do, I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join in our closing hymn, number 1018 in our teal hymnal, Come and Go With Me. Sorry, Catherine, I caught you by surprise. There's 4 verses, so the last 2 are the words down here at the bottom. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to be seated. As the summer draws to a close, may we garner a harvest of the heart and mind, a harvest of resolve, a harvest of reverence, a harvest of gratitude. May we hear and heed the wisdom of Anonymous Hamster. Work is love made visible. It keeps us together. It keeps us strong. In our yearning for work that is real, work that is joyful and sustaining, may we heed the words of the hamster. The best work isn't just what we do, it's how we care for one another while we do it. Amen, and blessed be.